Few mysteries in European history have endured quite like that of the man in the Iron Mask. For centuries, writers, historians, and curious minds alike have puzzled over his true identity. Was he a fallen nobleman, a traitorous valet, a political pawn, or even the secret twin brother of the Sun King himself? During the glittering reign of King Louis XIV, France saw opulence, wars, and monumental cultural achievements. But hidden beneath the grandeur was one of history's strangest enigmas, a prisoner kept under the tightest secrecy, whose face was never seen without a mask. Though popular imagination insists it was iron, contemporary accounts suggest it was likely black velvet. Still, the iron version made for a much more haunting legend, immortalized by philosophers and novelists alike. A prisoner without a name. The tale begins in the late 17th century. Records show that an unidentified man was held in several prisons, including the Bastille and the notorious fortress of Pignerol. Wherever he was confined, orders followed that he was to remain invisible to others. Guards were instructed not only to isolate him, but to threaten him with death should he utter a single word beyond the necessities of survival. His movements were shrouded in secrecy. He was even transported at times in a covered chair, lest curious eyes catch a glimpse of his features. No one outside his jailers and the king's trusted ministers seemed to know who this man was. When he died in November 1703, he was buried under the name Matthioli, a mysterious alias that further deepened the riddle, the mask and the myth. What transformed this prisoner into a timeless legend was not just his unknown identity, but the mask. Writings by Enlightenment thinkers such as Voltaire and romantic storytellers like Alexandre Dumas ensured his place in cultural memory. Voltaire helped spread the notion that the mask was literally forged from iron, a detail too dramatic to resist. Dumas took it further in his novel, The Vicomte de Bragelonne, where the mask became the hidden twin of Louis XIV. The image of a man locked away with his face forever hidden behind iron struck a chord with readers and storytellers. It was not just a story of imprisonment, but of secrecy, shame, and political intrigue. Who could he have been? Over the centuries, hundreds of candidates have been proposed. Some claimed he was a disgraced general. Others suggested he was a member of the royal family whose existence threatened the throne. Still others even floated the idea that he was the playwright Molière, though that theory is more fanciful than factual. Among the countless theories, two names consistently rise above the noise: Ercole Mattioli and Eustache Dauger. Ercole Mattioli. Ercole Antonio Mattioli was an Italian nobleman whose fate became entangled with French politics. In the 1670s, Mattioli played a double game during delicate negotiations between Louis XIV and Italian rulers. When his betrayal came to light, the French king had him abducted and thrown into prison. His story fits many pieces of the puzzle. For one, Mattioli's imprisonment overlapped with the earliest accounts of the mask. Even more compelling, when the masked man was finally buried, the name Matthioli was listed in the records, a name strikingly similar to Matthioli. Moreover, both Louis XV and Louis XVI are rumored to have privately admitted that the masked figure had been an Italian nobleman, which bolsters Mattioli's candidacy. Yet there is a major problem. Matthioli appears to have died in 1694, almost a decade before the death of the mysterious prisoner in 1703. Unless records were altered or manipulated, this makes it unlikely he could have been the man in the iron mask. Eustache Dauger, the shadowy prisoner. If Matthioli is the romantic choice, Eustache Dauger is the more convincing one. Arrested in 1669, Dauger's warrant came with extraordinary instructions. A royal minister explicitly warned his jailers to keep him isolated and under constant watch, forbidding him from speaking to anyone under pain of death. Throughout his confinement, Dauger was shifted between multiple prisons, including Pignerol and the Bastille. He was often transported with the utmost secrecy, hidden away from public view. This matches perfectly with the details of the mask's movements. But who exactly was Dauger? His true identity remains slippery. Some speculate he was a valet who knew too much about a scandal involving powerful nobles. Others suggest he was a disgraced aristocrat or a failed conspirator. Still others spun theories that he was connected to royal family secrets, possibly even an illegitimate child or a twin brother of Louis XIV. What makes Dauger's case stronger than Mattioli's is timing. His death lines up with the recorded passing of the man in the Iron Mask in 1703, the royal twin theory. Of all the theories, the most sensational, and thanks to Alexandre Dumas, the most famous, is the idea that the mask was Louis XIV's twin brother. According to this hypothesis, Queen Anne of Austria secretly bore twins. To prevent civil unrest or succession crises, one of the brothers was hidden away from the world. If ever revealed, his existence would have destabilized Louis XIV's absolute power. It's a thrilling story, tailor-made for novels and films, yet historians find little evidence to support it. Birth records and royal court chronicles, though not flawless, do not point to the existence of a second child. Most scholars today treat this theory as imaginative fiction rather than historical fact. Why the secrecy? Even if we accept that Dauger or Matthioli was the mask, a larger question looms. Why was such secrecy necessary? France under Louis XIV was a realm of spies, plots, and delicate political balances. An inconvenient figure, whether a traitor, a scandalous insider, or a rival claimant, could destabilize the monarchy. It's possible that Dauger knew secrets that could embarrass the crown or incriminate powerful nobles. Locking him away in silence, hidden behind a mask, ensured those secrets died with him. The mask itself may not have been iron at all. Records suggest it was black velvet, used not for torture, but for concealment. Yet the Iron Mask captured the imagination because it symbolized dehumanization. Whoever the man was, his individuality was erased, his identity reduced to a faceless cipher. Legacy of the Man in the Iron Mask. The man in the Iron Mask died in November 1703. His burial record lists Matthioli as his name, though this provides little clarity. Centuries later, the mystery remains unsolved, which is precisely why it endures. Writers like Voltaire and Dumas transformed a state secret into an immortal tale of intrigue. Painters, playwrights, and filmmakers have reimagined him as everything from a wronged brother to a noble martyr. Leonardo DiCaprio even donned the infamous mask in the 1998 Hollywood film adaptation of Dumas's tale. What is certain is that this prisoner truly existed, and his story reflects the extremes of secrecy and control in Louis XIV's France. The Sun King's reign is often remembered for Versailles, grandeur, and absolute monarchy. Yet in the shadows of that magnificence lay a single man, faceless and voiceless, whose silence still echoes today. History meets legend. The man in the Iron Mask straddles the boundary between fact and myth. On one hand, we have records, prison registers, and burial documents that prove his existence. On the other, we have centuries of speculation, embellishment, and storytelling that have transformed him into a cultural legend. Perhaps he was Ercole Mattioli, betrayed and punished for political treachery. Perhaps he was Eustache Dauger, locked away because he knew too much. Or perhaps he was someone else entirely, his identity forever erased by royal command. What makes the story so captivating is that it resists closure. Historians may never agree on who he truly was, but that very uncertainty has allowed the tale to live on. The man in the Iron Mask remains a haunting symbol of hidden truths, political power, and the lengths rulers will go to keep their secrets buried. In the end, he may have lost his name, his face, and his freedom, but he gained something rarer: immortality. And that wraps up the mystery of the man in the Iron Mask, a story that's still keeping historians guessing over 300 years later. If you enjoyed diving into this historical mystery, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button.